Hi, I'm Alicia and welcome to my channel Papercraft Secrets. Today I'm sharing a card folio that I created for a class I taught at the Papercraft party. For this tutorial I am using Arty Rasperry Fizz papers. This tutorial will take you step by step through the process of how to create the card folio and the cards inside the card folio. I hope you enjoy the tutorial and let's get started. Our first step is cutting. You will need to take one piece of 12 by 12 cardstock and you're going to cut it at 6 inches. This will give you two 6 by 12 pieces. Cut again at 9 3/4. Cut again at 5 1/2 and 5 1/2. Step 2, we're going to score. Take the 9 3/4 piece and score at 1 inch and 2 inches on the 9 3/4 side. Turn your paper around and score at 1 and 2 inches on the other 9 3/4 inch side. Fold on your score lines. Glue your two 5 1/2 by 6 inch pieces onto the scored and folded flaps of your larger 9 3/4 piece. A little bit of glue and hold that down, and a little bit of glue on the other tab and holding it down. You can also use double-sided tape if you find that easier. This will become the base for our folio. Step 3, we're going to cut. Take another piece of 12 by 12 cardstock and cut at 7 3/4 inches. Cut in half on the 12 inch side at 5 and then again at 4. This will create two pieces measuring 5 7 3/4 and 4 7 3/4. Score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch on 3 sides of both rectangles. 1/2 inch and 1 inch. 1/2 inch and 1 inch. 1/2 inch and 1 inch on the 3 sides. Cut out the corners. On both of these rectangles. Then we are going to fold on our score lines. Once we have all of the folding done, we will start to glue these together. Double-sided tape is fine to use here, or you can use liquid glue. These are going to go in the middle. The big one will go on first, and the little one will go on top. This is where it does require a little bit of patience if you're using glue to hold the paper or the cardstock in position while you wait for the glue to dry. applying pressure also helps the glue to set. So that's going to go in the middle of the scoring lines. Bit of glue all the way around on that little edge. And then gluing that down into the center of your card folio. So it becomes a little pocket. Make sure it's straight up against those score lines. Hold it for a little while to make sure that the glue is setting properly. And then we're moving on to our next little section here. So we've got to do the same thing again. So we're repeating the process of gluing those little corners together and holding them until the glue starts to attach. Once that has attached properly, then we can put some glue along the edges there. And then we'll flip that over and we put it on top, making sure the bottom edges are equal and the side edges are equal. So it's nice and square and will be flat on the bottom edge. So you'll get 2 pockets for your cards and your tags. Okay, that's looking really good. That's the base of our folio created. The next step is to add our ribbon. Try not to forget this step. I've forgotten it many times, and it makes it harder when you have to try to put it in later. Cut yourself 2 pieces of ribbon that measures about 30 centimeters. Decide if you want your ribbon in the center or slightly to the bottom. It could be down there, it could be in the middle, it could be up higher, it's up to you. I'm putting mine in the center. You can glue that on with some glue and then use some sticky tape to go over the top to make sure that that ribbon is securely adhered to the folio and is not going to pull out. Okay, now measure about where the other one needs to go, the other ribbon. And we're going to glue that onto the right-hand side spine. There it goes, and that's going to glue on there, and we're going to use some sticky tape to make sure that ribbon is not going anywhere. Okay, that's really good. So the ribbon will be able to be tied into a bow. Now we are ready to decorate. So I'm taking this paper here, Floramora it's called, by Rasperry Fizz. In the Rasperry Fizz collection, I'm going to take off the barcode strip and I'm going to cut this at 6 inches. It's going to be the front of my folio. Then I'm going to cut again at 5.5 and again at 5.5. So these are for the front flaps. Okay, the big pretty flower is going on the front, and then the smaller greenery arrangement is going on the inside. So I'm just going to be gluing that down now onto the front of my folio. And then I'm going to glue this one down onto the inside front piece. That's looking really pretty. Now just a reminder that you can use this project with any papers, and this does fit your 6x6 paper pads if you want to use those. Our next step is to cut a 1-inch strip. Now I'm using this tag paper, the reverse of the tag paper, so I'm going to cut my 1-inch strip so that the tags don't get destroyed, because I need to make 4 tags to decorate my album and to put in my folio. So I'm going to cut down this way at 1 inch. And that'll leave me the tags. I'm then cutting at 6 inches. So I've got 2 6x1-inch strips, and I'm going to glue those onto both spines of my folio. One on that side and one on this side. Beautiful. Okay, that's looking really good. Now the tags, they just need to be fussy cut out and hole punch the hole at the top of each of the tags, and they will sit inside the folio in the first little pocket. I cut 30cm ribbon and I just tied it in a bow on my tag. See, and they're looking really happy with their sunshine yellow ribbon. And they're all ready to go, so that's good. Moving on to step 7, the inside. I'm taking the garden fence paper. I'm cutting at 5 3/4 inches. I'm cutting at 1 inch, 3 inches, and 2 inches to make my little step down pieces. You can see I put that one there, I put that little green one next, and then the pink one, and I glued those on to the inside of my card folio. Now I'm going to also use this same paper for the inside flaps. This is going to be a 6 by 5.5 inch piece. So there's my 6 inch cut, and then I'm going to, so that was my 5.5 inch cut, and then I'm going to do my 6 inch cut. And I'm going to use this one as well. So there's my 6 inch and there's my 5.5 inch. And they look really pretty. They're going on the outside of the folio. Well, sorry, the inside, but the underside, I guess you could call it, of the flaps. And then this side, glue that side on as well. And that's looking really, really pretty now. Starting to take shape. All right, let's move on to our next step, which is step 8. And for this one, we're using the Summer Picnic pink paper. and we're going to cut a piece at 6 inches. We're going to put this on the back of our folio. So let's just first of all remove that barcode strip. And I want to use this bit down the bottom. It's got the flower on it, so I'm cutting it at 6 inches. And then I'm cutting it at 5 3/4. And that's going to be glued directly onto my page. And you could choose green on one side if you preferred that over pink. But I'm going with pink. Alright, now we're going to put in our 1-inch strips. So we need 2 1-inch strips, 1 inch by 6 inches, and that's going in there. Again, you could use green if you prefer. You may need to just double check that it's folding okay and that everything is in order. We are continuing with our cutting, and we're cutting some strips now, 6 inches by 1/2 inch. We actually need 4 1/2-inch ones, and we also need 1 1-inch. So there's our 1/2 inch. We've got to cut that. We've got to cut that at 4 inches. And 4 inches. And then we've got to cut 2 at 3 inches. And use the other one we can at 3 inches. Alright, so here we go. We're going to glue those on the side. We've got our 4 inch by 1/2 inch piece there, and our 3 inch by 1/2 inch piece there. That looks pretty. Moving on to this side now. Okay, so that's both of our sides are now done, and that just finishes it off nicely. And now we're going on to the base part, which is 5 3/4 by 1 inch. And then I'm just going to cut that at 5 3/4 and stick that onto the bottom of my folio. Okay, and that is all of the covering of the folio done. So we now can move on to decorating the front cover of our folio. Step 9, I'm adding a doily to the center of my folio to give me a little base to mount all of my fussy cut images. I'm using a tag on the front and some chippy to raise the tag up a little bit. And then I'm going to glue that onto the front of my card folio. I've taken a little floral cluster from my fussy cutting sheet. You can see all my fussy cutting elements out on my table. I have previously cut all of the elements from the gingham fussy cut elements paper. And now I'm just playing around with the design of how I will decorate the front cover, adding a little white flower and another white flower, maybe a bow. I'm thinking about the bow, I'm not sure on it yet. Maybe a little pink flower, maybe another white flower. So just decorate it as you enjoy. Maybe a little bit of cheesecloth, maybe a little bee. Just enjoy this part of the process of layering elements and embellishing your folio. Here's another little white flower and a happy birthday sentiment. You don't have to put your happy birthday sentiment on. You might not like to give this for a birthday present, but this would make a wonderful birthday present or a wonderful Christmas present if you wanted to do this project in Christmas papers. Just sticking on my little happy birthday sentiment. Popping it on the top here. I ended up taking the pink bow off and I added in some cheesecloth in between my layers. There we go. Going to add a little bit of Kindy Glitz to my chippy sentiment, give it a little bit of sparkle. I'm also going to add a little bit of Kindy Glitz to some of the images that I have fussy cut. So just adding that Kindy Glitz onto the sentiment, and I'm also going to add a little bit of Kindy Glitz to the little white flowers that I've used to decorate the front cover, and that'll just give it a little bit of sparkle. It's looking really, really pretty. And I'm also going to add just a little bit of Kindy Glitz around the edge of the tag for a little bit more decoration. And that is the folio part complete. Beautiful to give to somebody as a gift. You can make this for many different occasions. Now we're moving on to the cards that will go inside. Cutting your 12 by 12 cardstock at 4 inches and 8 inches. Folding those rectangles, those 4 by 12 inch rectangles in half for our card bases. I'm using this lovely candy cane striped paper. It's called Let's Party. And I'm going to cut it to 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'll have 6 of those. 3 for the front of my card, 3 for the inside of my card. I'm going to glue those papers down onto the front covers. One on each on the front cover of the cards, and then I'm going to use one on each of the inside of the cards. But do note that you will need to layer another piece of white cardstock on top of the inside cover so you can write on it. Now I'm cutting it 5 inches by 2 inches, 5 inches by 2, 5 by 2, to create 3 rectangles to decorate my card with. These are very simple cards. In this example, I am not adding any cardboard or mounting tape beneath my layers. I'm trialing a flat set of cards here without any bits in between. Our next rectangle is 4 inches by 2 inches. We're just using the scraps from our folio, so cut it at 4 inches. Yep, and then we're going to cut that at 2 inches and 2 inches and 2 inches to decorate our cards. Looking really beautiful so far. Again, I'm just gluing that straight down onto the papers. Our next step is to find our little collectibles and start gluing those on. We can use cheesecloth if we want to in between our layers, or we can leave the cheesecloth off. You can use mounting tape if you want to, or cardboard, or you can keep your card flat. Completely up to you with your card making. And this is how I positioned my elements to create the cards. You can position your elements any way you like to create your cards. Looking beautiful, bright and colourful. I also added a little bit of Kindy Glitz around the borders of the rectangular pieces that we glued on before, so you could do that if you wanted to. Just adds a little bit of sparkle to the card. Now this is an example of one I made earlier that has the cardboard in between and the one that's flat. So it's up to you as to whether you choose to make your cards flat, whether you want a little bit of dimension. And that is our completed project. It is an amazing project to gift somebody. It's quite fun to make. You can make it with any papers, any 6x6 paper pad, some fussy cut elements, some tags. You can make your own tags. It is a really fun project, and I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. All the instructions for this video are available inside the Papercraft Secrets classroom. This classroom is an exclusive classroom for those that have signed up, and you receive 4 videos a month and a free printable. The instructions, the printable instructions for this project are available inside the Papercraft Secrets classroom. Please make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely crafty day.